G.L.E.W. You're listening to Glue to bring what's current and new from around the world straight to you. It doesn't matter where you are, at home, work, or in your car. God loves every woman. God loves every woman. God loves every woman. You're listening to Glue. Hello, Glue members. Welcome to Glue. That's God loves every woman. He loves me and he loves you too. I hope you guys are all staying safe and healthy right now. Today, I am very excited to introduce my guest. Her name is Veronique Hausse. She's a nurse. She's a missionary. She's a lovely, godly woman who has been advocating for the use of progesterone for many years, that this topic of using progesterone, it's just not widely spread and many women are deficient in it. And so she actually sells a cream that you can purchase. Most importantly, what she wants is for women to be able to be their own advocate and stand up for their health and research things and really understand how important your health is for you. And so we're going to discuss progesterone, estrogen dominance, and different symptoms that you could be having today. This is a very insightful interview. I highly encourage you to watch it. I know you're going to learn a lot, and wait to the end because she's going to be giving us a discount on her cream. So you got to wait to the end of the interview for that so you can get your coupon code. And I want to share her favorite Bible verse with you. It is Isaiah 57:15, and it reads, "For this is what the high and exalted one says, He who lives forever, whose name is holy. I live in a high and holy place, but also with the one who is contrite and lowly in spirit, to revive the spirit of the lowly and to revive the heart of the contrite." Well, okay, so here we go. I hope you enjoyed this interview, and we will see you next time. Goodbye. Well, I want to welcome you, Veronique, to Glue. You are a progesterone advocate, and I really want to thank you for being on this show so we can talk about progesterone and estrogen, and thank you for being a part of this.
Well, Athena, it's really my pleasure, and so glad that we got to meet over these past months.
Yeah.
And thank you for inviting me. It's really a pleasure to be here with you.
Yes.
Yes,
So
yes.
let's just dive right in. So, can you explain what is estrogen and its role in the female cycle?
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to say that I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a nurse by training, but I've been introduced to natural supplementation with natural progesterone since 2000, and since I've worked very closely with other advocates and even doctors that are prescribing natural bio-identical progesterone, which is so important for our health. So I've learned a lot as by experience and by studying the matter, and I think it's a bit the calling of each woman to go and to dig and to make informative decision about her own health, and
Yes.
understanding our hormones is very important. I mean, we all know, menstrual cycle, progesterone, estrogen, and we have a more or less understanding what's happening. But estrogen and progesterone, they are both two vital, essential hormones that we need.
Yes.
And so in the first part of our cycle for menstruating ladies, the estrogen goes up to prepare the lining of the womb to receive the fertilized eggs, because the estrogen, did I say progesterone? But it's
You
the
said
estrogen
estrogen.
that,
Yes.
yeah, that goes up to prepare the lining by thickening the lining of the uterus. It sends the message to the cell: multiply, 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 so that when the fertilized eggs ovum comes down, it can implant itself in the lining of the uterus. So that's the role of the estrogen. It's one of the role in the menstrual cycle. Then, if there is no fertilized ovum,
Mm-hmm.
and then progesterone starts to rise, and it sends a message to the cell: just mature and die. So
Mm.
this is when progesterone goes, because when then the ovum is released, uh, there is that body which we call the corpus luteum, from where the ovum was released from. So this produces an enormous amount of progesterone in our body. So this is part of our cycle. Now, the thickening of the uterus, these cells needs to wither and die. And this is when there is the shedding of blood, our menses. So
Okay.
the big problem throughout the years is that a lot of young women are having cycle without ovulating,
Oh.
anovulatory cycle. And if we don't ovulate, so what happens is that the progesterone level is much lower than what it should be,
Mm-hmm.
and we become more estrogen dominant.
Wow. So you can actually have a period and you didn't ovulate.
Yes, yes,
Wow.
yes.
Now, are those usually the periods that are heavier?
No, I wouldn't say so. No, I wouldn't say so. But actually, there's Dr. G.L.E., an American doctor who is late now, but he wrote a lot about progesterone, what your doctor may not tell you about menopause,
Mm-hmm.
premenopause, what is natural progesterone, and all this. And he said a statement that in the day and age we are living, most women, a lot of women, by the age of 30, they start having cycle without ovulations. And
Wow.
so they are depleted in their natural progesterone bank or
Mm-hmm.
supply.
Mm.
Um, and all this is also very much accentuated, increased by the toxin, the world of toxin we are living
Yes.
in. I mean,
Yes.
you must realize that, which was not
Plastic.
the case
Mm.
maybe 50 years ago.
Yes.
Our ailment has changed a lot from the last
Mm-hmm.
50 years.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it has with all the plastic. Everything is plastic and yes.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Because
Okay.
all this plastic, as you say, they are petrochemicals,
Mm-hmm.
and they are endocrine disruptors. They
Mm.
will mimic actually the action of estrogen. They are xenoestrogen, like foreign estrogen.
Wow.
So this is how most of us ladies, you know, we are estrogen dominant on the whole.
Hmm. So what is that? What is estrogen dominance and what are the symptoms of it?
Okay, so estrogen dominance again was a term coined by the late Dr. G.L.E., which I really encourage all of you just to have a look. I mean, his books are available on Amazon and all this. And it speaks about the ratio, because estrogen, as I said, plays its part in our body. We need it, we need progesterone,
Mm.
but it's just the ratio between the two. And when that ratio, that balance is broken, and there is more estrogen to progesterone, then we can start to have all sorts of little symptoms. So sometimes it can be symptoms that seems small. I mean, maybe you are not sleeping well, you are anxious, or you know, you can get panic attacks, or it can also be other kinds of symptom. It can, like endometriosis, premenstrual syndrome, PMS, fibroids, uh, cysts in the breast, or on the ovaries. There are so many symptoms that actually can be linked to high estrogen, not the proper ratio, poor
Mm.
libido, and
Mm.
so I mean there is a whole list. Estrogen also, when we have too much estrogen, it seems that we're having a hard time to lose weight,
Oh.
because uh, the fat cell also produces estrogen. So this is a bit of a, of a 22 catch there. So all this fluid retention, I mean, there's loads and myriads of symptoms that one can look up online. I mean, it's very extensive. And often we have those symptoms and we would go and see a doctor
Mm-hmm.
and they would treat just the symptoms without
Right.
going to the root.
Mm.
And this
Yes.
is where being aware of our hormones, knowing if we, discerning if we are estrogen dominant or not, even like hot flushes, and that would happen during the perimenopause period, just before getting into menopause, then, one can experience like hot flushes and all this. And if we take it in time and discern that it's our hormone not being in proper ratio,
Mm-hmm.
then we can supplement with bio-identical progesterone.
Okay. So usually when a woman is having these symptoms, she goes to the doctor and they put them on estrogen, right? That's what's been happening instead
Yeah,
of them putting them on
yeah.
progesterone. Why is that?
Well, I think one of the one of the culprits would be that big pharma has been pushing a lot of drugs, synthetic estrogen, progesterone, especially for HRT, hormone replacement therapy, and even in the pill, we had that combination
Mm-hmm.
about it. But
Yes.
again, why is that? Is that the pharmaceutical lab has been pushing their product, so there has not been as much trial, or there is, of course, there are, but the limelight has not been on natural progesterone, which
Okay.
really is a pity. It has
Yes.
been on
Yes.
supplement with other synthetic hormone.
Okay.
Ah.
So what are the benefits then of using progesterone?
So progesterone is a well-being hormone. Okay, of course. In fact, progesterone is the mother of all hormones.
Hmm.
To describe it in a bit of a simplistic way, is that we need good cholesterol. We need cholesterol. Cholesterol is used to synthesize hormones. So from cholesterol, then we've got pregnenolone, and then is synthesized the progesterone. And actually, a lot of the other hormones that we need are in our body is synthesized from the progesterone.
Hmm.
So we are talking about our corticosteroids, our cortisol, our adrenaline, our serotonin, melatonin, even the male hormone, androstenedione, testosterone. But just to clarify, progesterone is not a sexual hormone.
Hmm.
Progesterone is necessary for the gestation of the baby. It's a
Hmm.
hormone that exists in all vertebrates, in human. It's not a sexual hormone. It's the estrogen and the testosterone that gives the sexual characteristic. But so even women have small dosage of testosterone or androstenedione, but all this comes from the progesterone. So now, if we are depleted of progesterone, this is how, because of if we've endured a lot of stress and we might have some inflammatory condition in our body,
Hmm.
arthritis or pains and aches. So it disrupts the whole cycle. Uh,
Hmm.
so this is when the anxiety, because the serotonin is not there, the melatonin is not there for the good sleep, the anti-inflammatory hormones are not there to keep our body coping with all sorts of inflammation processes that are happening in our body. So by having the progesterone, we are it's like yeah, we are, it's for our well-being. and
Yes.
uh, and there are also the benefit of opposing estrogen dominant symptoms. Uh, So but often it's taken too late. For instance, in endometriosis, this
Mm-hmm.
lining of a uterus going wild and growing out of control, or fibroids, or uh, so it has a myriads of benefits for our well-being.
Okay, so it can reverse the estrogen dominance. And like you
Yes.
were mentioning, anxiety, not being able to sleep, all of those things, if you start taking the progesterone, you will slowly start to see all of these symptoms disappear.
Oh yes, yes, and we've seen many women uh, that have been going for a long time, knocking on doctor's door,
Hmm.
consultation, and just being, alleviated symptomatically, but yeah, coming back to the root cause, finding peace, finding back their libido, finding, the less depression, panic attacks, being able to live a more normal life.
Mm.
And uh, and again, that leads us, of course, to that question of, it depends. It's the amount. I mean, all of us, we've been exposed to some xenoestrogen, or we are different level of estrogen dominance symptom. Some people, it
Yes.
might just be some hot flashes at the perimenopause time. Some ladies, it can be terrible premenstrual syndrome, pain before the menses, or migraine headaches, or it can be various things. But obviously, one I always say that one, I mean, I'm a nurse by training, and we respect doctors, we respect
Hmm.
the medical profession, and we have to see if there is no underlying condition. We have to do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, also, it's better to find a doctor who understands about progesterone, bio-identical progesterone therapy, to supplements.
Yes.
Um, and how do we know that we are estrogen dominant, or we lack progesterone? Um, we can do a blood test, but again, it's not the amount of estrogen and progesterone one gets in the blood test. It's the ratio between the two. And here I would like to say a word that the blood test might not be the best test to
Mm.
test estrogen and progesterone, especially progesterone, because progesterone is bound to protein, and the where we can really test the amount, have a proper reading of the amount of progesterone, is through saliva testing.
Oh,
But
okay.
first of all, well, it's not very many lab that does it, but I do have some recommendation for the States. There's a lab that does it, or maybe a few in England, I know, but even in my country or in South Africa, um, we don't know about this test. I mean, it's not that readily available. It's very
Mm.
expensive. So our advice, down to earth advice, I mean, if one has got these signs, these symptoms, just take some progesterone over
Mm-hmm.
3 months. And because you can't overdose on progesterone, there is no side effects to progesterone to the level that you are taking it. And and check and see. And many people have not done blood tests, but they have just used the progesterone and say, yes, wonderful. I mean,
They feel better.
I'm regaining my health. I'm
Yes.
feeling so much better.
Because you make a lot of progesterone when you're pregnant. What is it, 800 milligrams or something like that? Your progesterone
Yes,
goes up
and
really high.
yes, exactly. I mean, this shows how safe that hormone is.
Mm. Wow.
Because when you are pregnant, that's why it was called uh, progesterone, for the progestation of the baby. And I mean, it's enormous amount. If you would give progestins or progestogen to a pregnant woman, she will abort. I mean,
Mm.
it's that toxic.
Wow.
But bioidentical progesterone is released in high dosage during the pregnancy, especially by the third month. And I don't know if you can recall people telling you how beautiful you look, your hair, your skin, and everything. So you've got that sense of well-being. And there are even stories
Yes,
of
they say you're
midwife.
glowing. You're glowing when you're
Yeah,
pregnant.
yeah. In the old days, there were even stories of midwife, scraping some of that on the placenta of that white stuff, and using it. But I mean, progesterone is amazing, and we need to bring the light back on bioidentical progesterone in the same way that we lack uh, uh, some essential nutriments in our food, and with supplements,
Mhm.
with vitamins and minerals. In the same way, most of us, because we are exposed to so many toxic. I mean, even washing the dishes, or uh,
Yes.
you or going out and there's the car fumes you are inhaling, or some of the meat that you are eating that have been pumped with synthetic hormones. So it's very hard to say, okay, I'm just going to protect myself completely from xenoestrogen. it's
Right.
it's quite difficult.
Right. But if you can take a bioidentical cream,
Yes,
it will help. Now, people might say they've heard that if you take progesterone, you can get cancer. Is that true or false?
that's false.
Okay.
uh, because as I mentioned, it's the estrogen that actually triggers a gene, BCL2 gene. Okay, so the estrogen just sends these signals to the cell just to multiply, to multiply, to multiply. So in the long run, if the estrogen is unopposed, that can be a great risk of cancer.
Mm.
But the progesterone, on the other hand, triggers the part of the gene which is the P53, and which sends that message to the cell, just die.
Now, can you show us the cream? Because you actually have a cream and
Yes.
it's bio. Oh, look at that. So pretty. It's a nice bottle. So, can you show us for our glue members, this is
Yes.
the bottle and how much do they need to take?
Okay, so this is a very practical. It's airless, so that you won't get any residue staying at the bottom. It will just push to the top. And so by, I'm sorry, I speak in milliliters, but you will, let's say that according, the dosage is according to your symptoms. I think I will touch a bit on that as well.
Okay.
But um, if one, a few doctors that prescribe progesterone, they say you should take like 40, 50 milligram per day. If the dosage is too low, it will keep triggering your estrogen receptors, and you will never come back to that progesterone dominant space, and it will just trigger the symptoms, and so you will plateau, and you will
Mhm.
never be able to get over your symptoms. In fact, the amount of cream depends on the kind of symptoms.
Okay.
um, on the whole, uh, we can get away with 100 milligram per day,
Mm.
and one squirt, okay, one squirt would be uh, it would be 50 milligram. Okay, so uh, some people could take it in the morning and in the evening. For me personally, what I do after cleaning my face, I use it as a face cream at night,
Oh, okay.
and it's well absorbed. Actually, it's well absorbed any part of your body, your chest, your breast, your anywhere. It's well absorbed. So
Okay.
um, you obviously you smudge it well and it's well absorbed, and then if you take another squirt like this in the morning, it's 100 milligram. So depending on your symptoms, maybe it's a good place to start. Okay,
Okay.
but if the person really has got some horrendous symptoms and it's very hard, so we would say double that dose. morning and evening. So that would be 100 milligram and 100 milligram times 200 milligrams a day.
A day.
We have ladies taking 400, 500, 800 milligrams according to their symptoms. Okay, so the dosage is always according to the symptoms. It's not according to the weight, the height, the age. It's according to the symptoms. And also, I remember you asked me about if we should take it continuously or stop at each
Yes.
cycle.
Right.
If the symptoms are minimal and it's just a top-up, a supplementation, actually in the leaflet that you will get with the pump, it will explain to you when to start your cream. Actually, you count from the first day of the period to the 13th day. Then you would use the cream 13 days, 13th day onward until you bleed again, which is about 14 days, 2
Right.
weeks.
Right.
And then when you have the period, then you stop.
You stop.
And then you start 13 days again. But we've had cases of menstruating ladies with quite bad estrogen symptoms. And by stopping, and they found that each time they started the cream again, the symptoms fled with a vengeance. So they were a bit discouraged and all this. And a few progesterone advocates, they say that then in that case, you can take it continually for 3 months or so.
Oh,
And
okay.
then you might not have your period, or it might be a bit erratic, or might not have your period, but then you can, once your body becomes progesterone dominant, then there are ways there when you can, get back your normal cycle. So this
Okay.
is for menstruating ladies. But now for those that are perimenopause or menopause, by all means, they can take it all the time. And
Oh,
we don't get that fatigue where we must stop 3-4 days and then start again. We thought about that at a certain time, but nowadays the opinion is that we can take it continually.
okay. So if you've already experienced menopause, you can just take the cream every single day. You don't have to, because you're not
Yes,
having a cycle.
yes,
So,
yes.
oh,
But
okay.
now I would not mix that with HRT, or if someone takes the pill, because the synthetic hormones are so powerful, it latches onto those receptors. One can supplement a bit, but then with the idea of winding off the because in the winding up the pill or the HRT, because in the long run there are more risks linked to using the pill, more than 10 years, or to using HRT, you know. So, and then it's a bit of a trial and error in view of the dosage, because you can start high and then after a few months start to reduce a bit and see how your body reacts. And also, having said that, men can use it as well, but they don't need as
Oh,
much as we do,
okay.
because we need to oppose the estrogen. But we've had instances of men that with pain, with arthritic pain, with inflammatory condition, that have been using, and they don't need to use as much. It really a small amount, and it has a soothing effect even on babies, calming effect, because this is one of the big difference between bio-identical progesterone and progestins, which is the synthetic one. It's a good hormone. If you overdose on progesterone, you might just want to sleep a bit more and be so relaxed that you just want to sleep. That's all.
So would you
It's not
recommend
too bad.
taking it at night versus in the morning? Would it be better to take it before you can
It's a
sleep?
personal choice. Some people have to take twice,
Okay.
depending on their symptoms. I'm at a point now, I just take at night,
Okay.
and it suits my need.
Yes.
Just taking at night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the synthetic form, this progestin, that's the one that you find in birth control pills, right?
That's right, yes.
So it's not, someone could say, well, I'm on birth control and it's supposed to have progesterone, but that's not a real form of progesterone. That's the synthetic form, right?
It is a synthetic. There are, especially I know in France, they use a form of natural progesterone, utrogestan, also, which is very well known. But what is strange is that they use it in the form of a tablet. And we know that tablet-wise, it will be destroyed in the guts by the acid and all this. And in fact, that's why for the pill, one of the reasons they modified the progesterone to progestins is that it becomes resistant and it's not destroyed in our stomach.
Oh.
So, I mean, this is a matter of personal choice. I mean, I've got three daughters, married daughters, and at first they all started on the pill, and after 2-3 months they felt so awful they stopped.
Yes.
One of them she carried a bit longer, but it's really a personal choice. But one needs to know that in the long run, it doesn't help to use synthetic progestins in the
Okay.
pill. Yeah.
Right. Before you go, I really want you to tell us more a little about yourself, because you mentioned to me earlier that your husband is a pastor and this is a Christian show. And so I really want you to
Yeah.
share with the ladies more of what you
Yes.
do outside of the progesterone. You have a
Yes.
ministry. So tell me a little more about that.
Well, since I met Jesus I was 18, my life was literally transformed. Actually, I was studying nursing in South Africa at during this time. And before that, I was looking into metaphysics and religion and reincarnation, and I was full on in the Eastern philosophy. And even though I had like a religious Christian background, but my life was transformed completely. I then worked with an evangelist in South Africa for many years, and then was called back here to Mauritius in the 80s. So I lived quite a bit of years of my life in South Africa. So then got married, and we've been serving the Lord. So I've been, right now we are part of a team which works a lot extensively in Africa. And we work interdenominational with many other churches. And my husband and I, we've been traveling for the past 5 years in Europe, once and twice a year, visiting the churches. And so that's quite active. It takes a lot. And obviously we are serving in the church here. We are caring. My husband is a pastor, so we are pretty much involved in the life of the church here. But apart from that, also with a group of dear friends, we've launched a foundation that is helping poor people in Madagascar.
Oh, wonderful.
And there we are working with different various Christian NGO, and we are training them to go out and not only giving them supplies, but also teaching them about hygiene, about health. Actually, we are launching into a very nice project, very dear to our heart, is to provide washable hygienic pads to girls, to young girls in Madagascar. So we are about to launch, we are starting a small unit to produce these. And right now, my colleague in Madagascar, we are providing food packs during the confinements, because a lot of people in Madagascar, if they don't work, they don't eat. I mean, they live with less than $1.50 a day. So if they
Oh my
don't work
goodness.
that day, they don't eat. So we are doing various projects like that. And yeah, so my life is very busy. I love also being creative, using the media and video, and so developing that as well.
That's
to
wonderful.
share the message. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a bit in a nutshell what we are doing.
Well, that's so wonderful. I love
Yeah.
hearing stories like
Yeah.
that. Now, you are going to be giving our Glue members a discount. So if they want to buy the cream,
So, with pleasure. So I will leave a coupon code that actually is going to be valid until the 30th of April. So
oh,
for the next 2
wonderful.
weeks, for those who would like to use it, I'm giving a 7% discount on, so one can buy the tub. This one tub normally it's $42.90, so it would be minus a few dollars, or you can buy 3 at a time. There is a discount already on the batch of free, but I'm giving an additional discount on the batch of
Yay.
free. Okay, so
Wonderful.
you're welcome. But um, all that matters, we rejoice for the ladies to take control of their,
Yes.
huh? And
Yes.
to be, to feel good, to be feel well in themselves, to be more pleasant in the home with the husband, with the
Yes.
children, with the friends, and be more relaxed, less stress, and so yeah. So we are. It's a real pleasure to be on that journey, and trusting that many other women also will join on that journey.
And feel
But
better.
as I say, our health is our responsibility.
Right.
Yeah,
Because no one else is going to do it for you. I mean, you have to be your own advocate. You really do. And
exactly,
keep
exactly.
asking questions. And you women, we're the only ones who really know our own body. Nobody can look at you and say, "Oh, you're feeling this," because they don't know. But if you know your own body, you can recognize if you're having these estrogen dominance symptoms. And then if you can take the cream, you're going to know if you're feeling better, and no one can tell you, how you feel. It's very important to take control of it and listen to your body. And just, I
Yes,
mean, I'm sure there'll be people who are going to see this and go, "Oh, I didn't even know that this estrogen
yes,
dominance existed." And they'll be able to
yes.
get some help and get the cream and start feeling better. So,
I mean, you are most welcome to connect with me on my website. There is an email address. I get quite a bit of queries, of questions, and I will respond to your questions. Um, as I say, I'm just an advisor. This doesn't replace any medical advice,
mhm,
which one, as I say, should get, because we don't know any underlying causes that there might be.
right.
But but we help ladies make informed choices by understanding the progesterone, estrogen, and to recognize when they are suffering from some sort of estrogen dominant symptoms.
Yeah.
And
And how long have you been taking progesterone? Has it been 20
I've
years?
been taking, yes, yes. So when I started, it was menopause. No, no, I was not menopause yet, but I was starting to have a bit of hot flashes and all this. So I took it. It definitely helped me quite a bit. And then I stopped for a while. But then for the last few years, I've been taking it regularly. And I really feel young and well in my skin
Mhm.
and active. And yeah, and I'm a grandmother of 6 grandchildren, but
Oh my
I'm very young
goodness.
at heart, and we are full of energy, doing what we need to do and responding to the call of God.
Well, thank you so much for sharing
It's
all
been
of
a
that.
pleasure.